Mr. Brooks, you need to go to the hospital. Now. The words sliced through the hum of his million-dollar office like cold water. Richard Brooks froze mid-sentence on his Bluetooth call. The woman standing in front of him wasn't a doctor, at least not anymore. She was wearing a navy blue cleaner's uniform, holding a spray bottle and a rag, her posture steady, her eyes serious. "Excuse me?" Richard pulled out his earpiece, his voice dripping with disbelief. "You're giving me medical advice?" Keisha Washington didn't move. "Your blood pressure's dangerously high. Your coordination's off. I'm worried you might be having something neurological." Richard let out a sharp laugh. "Neurological? What is your degree in? Advanced mopping?" His sarcasm filled the 30th floor office like a bad smell. She didn't answer that. Instead, she tilted her head, eyes on the way his left hand shook slightly as he picked up his phone again. "You need to listen to me, sir. Go back to your chemicals, Miss Washington." He cut her off, his tone like ice. "I'll manage my own health." He turned away, muttering something about clean in silence next time. Most people would have walked away, but Keisha had been a registered nurse for 15 years. Her eyes were trained to see things others ignored. Small tremors, the way someone's pupils reacted to light, the hesitation before forming a word. She'd seen the signs for weeks now, the slow speech, the occasional blank stare. But in this building, no one dared question Richard Brooks, the man worth over $2 billion. The first time she noticed something was wrong was during one of his video conferences. She was wiping down the far corner of the conference room when she heard him stumble on his words, then completely lose his train of thought mid-sentence. Every executive around the table stared at their laptops, pretending nothing had happened. She thought, maybe stress, but then it happened again and again. That night, in her small one-bedroom apartment, Keisha sat at her kitchen table with a notepad. She started writing down what she'd seen. Date, time, what happened, how long it lasted. It wasn't a medical report. She'd lost her nursing license years ago in a scandal she still couldn't say out loud without feeling sick. 5 years ago, she'd been head nurse at Metropolitan Hospital. She'd spoken up about a doctor overprescribing opioids and about how black patients were being given smaller doses than white patients for the same pain. Instead of listening, the hospital accused her of being unstable, of seeing racism where there was none. A friend of that doctor made sure her career was over. Now she scrubbed floors to pay rent. But she had never turned off her medical brain. 3 days after Richard brushed her off, she saw him again, this time in the boardroom. She was refilling the water pitcher in the corner when he called the head of marketing, "That guy from sales," twice. He repeated the same question about revenue projections 3 times in less than 10 minutes. Then she noticed something new. His left hand twitching, his pupils slightly uneven. Her gut tightened. This wasn't stress. This was neurological deterioration. And if she didn't act, he could be dead in weeks. That night, she took a risk. She stayed up past midnight writing an anonymous letter to Richard's wife, Margaret Brooks. Margaret, she'd learned, had been a nurse before becoming a full-time mother. Keisha kept the letter simple but precise. The symptoms she'd observed, how they'd progressed, what they could mean if ignored. She left her name out. She didn't care about credit. She cared about saving his life. 3 days later, the crisis hit. Richard was in the middle of a big meeting with the top executives when his voice faltered. He stared at the table for a good 10 seconds, like he'd forgotten where he was. Then he tried to stand up and almost fell. Margaret had been invited that day. She said it was for family involvement in the company's future, but she was quietly planning an intervention. The second she saw his left side slump, she rushed to his side. "Richard!" I'm fine," he slurred, though his words sounded like they were slipping away from him. The CFO had already called 911 when Margaret's phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Mrs. Brooks, this is Keisha. From your husband's office." Margaret blinked. "The cleaning staff?" "Yes, but before that, I was a nurse. I've been documenting his symptoms for weeks. I think it's a brain aneurysm. If you don't act now, you'll lose him." There was no hesitation after that. At the hospital, the diagnosis was exactly what Keisha had predicted, a slow-bleeding aneurysm. The neurosurgeon's words were blunt. If you had waited even 2 more days, he wouldn't be here. Richard's surgery lasted 6 hours. When he woke up, pale and groggy, his first words were barely above a whisper. "Where's the cleaning lady?" Margaret called her in. When Keisha walked in, Richard's eyes lowered. "You saved my life," he said. "I've been trying to," she replied quietly. "You just weren't ready to listen." He swallowed hard. "I'm sorry." Keisha gave a small nod. "Don't be sorry. Be grateful. And next time, listen when someone's trying to save you." You know, sometimes the people we overlook the most, the ones we think have nothing to teach us, they're the ones holding the lifeline we don't even know we need. Pride almost killed Richard Brooks, and the only reason he's alive is because someone he saw as just a cleaner refused to let his arrogance get in the way of saving him. If there's a lesson here, it's that you never really know who's standing in front of you. They might just be the person who changes or saves your life.